Mama Mwati Asia say Ghana Bar Association for actions are more take here recently against the suspension of the Chief Justice. No, ama lawyers be bring about saying about Bekasa, and I've told you if there is a group of people be a na omotron someone me type person me kind pension and the free more Ghanaian lawyers. Today we will be reading articles published by Ghanaian lawyers on Ghana Bar Association for Adia Womoye. Some lawyers have gone into their archives and they are giving us history. Some lawyers are also speaking and all that. Today we'll read all those. So far, I have about 3 publications from different lawyers. I'm making kind of trail into one lawyer. I say your friend Timothy S. Donko, but then Sema Babetuja giving us the history between the Ghana Bar Association and then the what the Ghana Bar Association or Moye or NDC time and then what they do in MPP time. And you know, they should be interesting. Let's go through it and then let's read what or they Ebabetuja was a Ghana Bar Association and its history of political storms. Now I say the Ghana Bar Association is an association whose members are lawyers who willingly join the association and accept to be bonded by a set of rules. See Wadbrew versus Ghana Bar Association 1993-1994. Now say, thus legally speaking, the Ghana Bar Association is not a statutory body or a national institution. It is a workers' union like Ghana Medical Association, National Teachers Association, and others. And I've made this a year argument on platform na metreme nimno. Ma make this argument. That is why I was calling for say the monopoly of Ghana Bar Association for no yembreki sa monopoly no. What you say? Now say, but how did an association stroke union of lawyers become so elevated to enjoy national status and even constitutional recognition? I say Ghana Bar Association no. When I was doing analysis, make I say na me sure say Ghana Bar Association crane or constitution. Well, apparently Ghana Bar Association is in the constitution. It was say Ghana Bar Association ejuma just like Teachers Association. But about the saying no more Ghana Bar Association no yatro wo mudin e Ghana constitution mo about the saying obetretre mo. I say well, it is a history of teacup storms to making more hills out of mountains and now to becoming a mountain itself. The post-colonial era of the Ghana Bar Association was largely political. Or Ghana Bar Association answer na Ghana say after Kwame Nkrumah ebabedi so na the post-colonial era no satan na Ghana Bar Association no omo the year politics papa. It's Nkrumah time na ebi mo the Ghana Bar Association year politics. Also many of Kwame Nkrumah's opponents were lawyers, and not too surprising, litigation was used often for political and other purposes. Lawyers and body of lawyers visibly became a window of advocacy against Nkrumah's refine. These opponents include Victor Usu, Dr. J.B. Dankwa, and Joe Appiah. To say Kwame Nkrumah time, omo anomo kuntia Kwame Nkrumah ni bebre na anomo ye lawyers. Na sa amre nso no, na wobi pese wo ye bibia e lawyer ho e na okọ. Ti sa amre ne de na lawyers omudi mu papa. Wa hwe sa time no, the literacy rates senya na ewo form a obviously say you be a lawyer. Ono na nkrofo bedwane akọ ne ho so mu pe bibia. Nti sa time no, na lawyers ni bebre na nso omotan Nkrumah aban. Obubodin ti say Victor Usu, Dr. J.B. Dankwa, Joe Appiah. Also Victor Usu, who acted as president of the Ghana Bar Association from 1963 to 1965, was formerly a member of the National Liberation Movement, a political union that rejected Nkrumah's CPP, contested national elections, and was heavily influential. In 1963 to 1965, Victor Usu and then ye can MPP a womu to me boni din because ye can NLM National Liberation Movement I say enam swa memde omoba ye babe for me MPP no. Ye say that time na Victor Usu na no odi enim. Na that time na Victor Usu no na wo ye Ghana Bar Association for president in 1963 to 1965. Inti the link between MPP and the Ghana Bar Association is share free ho. Na omo leader ena na o te Ghana Bar Association eso or kutia Nkrumah ni CPP. Also in 1963, when Nkrumah dismissed the Chief Justice, Akukwa Sasije, Victor Usu led Ghana Bar Association heavily condemned the action. That's exactly what is happening. Ayana comments Melodies Busia Nibi. Ayana made a video about His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Some more Babetron say Mahama is the second Osajefo. Inti to me who say Nkrumah time on also Oyi Chief Justice be free so. Na sa time no Ghana Bar Association for Eba Bontin Eba Bebo Nkrumah. Just like today the Ghana Bar Association every year His Excellency John Dramani Mahama no. Inti wa waka say Mahama is the second Osajefo. Them say wa we die we hu na waka. Or see, in 1966, after Nkrumah was overthrown, Joe Appiah, a known political opponent of Nkrumah and a member of the NLM, became the president of Ghana Bar Association. In year 2 Nkrumah free ideas or no, Joe Appiah, our non so party I hear so I did say MPP no, or no na odi omunim, na or a member of that party no, sorry, or no so eba bedane Ghana Bar Association to her from Omwa Ghana Bar Association ne sha asia no mudi enim no nipa cross anso be di ne chini na omo ye MPP for omo founding fathers omo nananom sa na ye be kan nti me kan MPP nananom a ne hu se eye LNM ho asem na meka nti MPP nananom Ghana Bar Association for na MPP nananom no omo party no na omo kwa na omo di Ghana Bar Association echi ana omo di so. He being formally imprisoned under the Prevention Detention Act 1958 openly supported the steps taken by the National Liberation Council, the military government, in banning the Nkrumah CPP, subjecting its members to trials and prosecutions and more. Inti yanam sa Ghana Bar Association for any pass or mutu Nkrumah free so no mbabe bane Nkrumah ne political party eye CPP. Omo bane party no. Also in 1969, when the Busia regime took office as a democratic governance, the Ghana Bar Association didn't remain silent. The Ghana Bar Association openly condemned Busia's public reaction to Salah versus Attorney General. Busia and Soba Sono, that time na Ghana Bar Association, Omokasa. Also, when Busia appointed judges to the new Supreme Court, skipping senior judges who decided the Salah case, the Ghana Bar Association openly condemned the government. The Ghana Bar Association openly condemned the Busia regime after it succeeded in prosecuting and convicting a journalist for making seditious comments. See Bedu versus Republic, 1974, 2 GLR 361. Also, the National Redemption Council, led by Kutu Champon, wasn't spared. In 1976, a military tribunal hearing treason cases against Kojo Chikata dropped the cases. The Ghana Bar Association condemned this as a miscarriage of justice, and during its annual conference in 1976, it called for the abolition of military tribunals and instructed its lawyers to collectively refuse to appear before military tribunals. Also, a champion being burdened by the attacks of the Ghana Bar Association famously said, "I put it to you, does not put food on the table." The AFRC and later the PNDC regime had the Ghana Bar Association as its major critic. Intino sa time na Ghana Bar Association for hwenim say the National Redemption Council led by Kutu Champon no ebechi Kojoti Chikata atum now so ye droppy cases no because na ye share any evidences entiano and ye Ghana Bar Association for there. It is that time osha a Champon ekraba be kaseti Ghana Bar Association no sa time no because they became the major critic. It is that time na PNDC regime na Ghana Bar Association omo kasetia PNDC. Also in 1984, the Ghana Bar Association ordered its members to boycott the public tribunals, a parallel court system to the original courts. In 1992, it called on the PNDC regime to resign and for a presidential commission to be established to supervise over steps leading to the making of the Fourth Republic amidst fears that the Rawlins's PNDC will influence the elections. Also in 1992, the Ghana Bar Association boycotted the Consultative Assembly meetings, a body established to audit and formalize the draft of the 1992 Constitution. Its boycott was hinged on the belief that the content 1992 Constitution was highly influenced by PNDC and that the Consultative Assembly, as it is constituted, is not proper. Ghana Bar Association preferred a constituent assembly as was done in 1969. Inti yebe form a constitution 1992 constitution a ye use when den ekra no. Ghana Bar Association no mon ka ho. Obi asema wo kan was in Nkrumah. I saw a comment. Was in Nkrumah bia omo 1992 constitution no. Omo e boycott ye no today omo no mo ba be trace 1992 constitution mu atre yen. Say His Excellency John Dramani Mahama de oye ne your own constitutional. Meanwhile, ye constitution no mo no mu dwane free mu. Na mo pesa mo be. Nti o tre history no de see ye. No mo say na a year Rollins time or form a constitution no omoni nje ho, and so they didn't want to play any part in the constitution. Also, when finally the Fourth Republic came, the Ghana Bar Association remained a nosy association, often with busybody duties. In 1995, the Ghana Bar Association sued the Rawlings government in the Supreme Court. It was over the appointment of Aban as Chief Justice. Into where Rawlings timer, the Ghana Bar Association for the year and then Yasem Ketwa, or the Rawlings cry echo court. I say, through the case, though the case was dismissed as without merit, it occasioned a damage to the judiciary and especially the Chief Justice. But the Ghana Bar Association activism or busybodyism hasn't always been the case. In certain situations where the Ghana Bar Association is expected to speak, it remained silent. In 2002, the Supreme Court of Ghana, in the case of Chachichi Kata versus Attorney General, declared the fast-track High Court as unconstitutional. President Kufuor reacted to this decision and promised to take every step to ensure that it is overturned. Hurriedly, Justice Afre was appointed to the Supreme Court by Kufuor, who was empaneled to hear the review case. Unsurprisingly, the earlier decision of the Supreme Court was overturned. The Ghana Bar Association did not condemn this. No record of that exists publicly. Into what MPP, Ghana Bar Association doing a year Rawlings, the Fourth Republic. Into yen take it from the Fourth Republic. Into from the Fourth Republic, no. Osha Rawlings timer, no omo bo Rawlings e chi omo de Rawlings kra call court. E ba be do Kufuor so, e na Ghana Bar Association for years se wo mu ye kom. Into Kufuor ye se, na ko person Chachichi Kata etum. Nanso Supreme Court ruling by ya ka say court na ananke ye de Chachichi Kata akọ a ye ko chi na tum no court no etiambra ene ye si Kufuor ka say de wo no be ye bia asa ruling na Supreme Court ama no obe overturn no obe overturn nti Kufuor eba be appointing new judge na the review of the case no ene de ko share judge ni nsem ena judge ni rule ye ema de na Kufuor epe nti sa time na Nkrumah bebre na ehwe nim se senior Ghana Bar Association during Rawlings time omokasa bibi kitwe bia omokasa na nka ade kese we ya Kufuor aye no ombekasa na nso sa time na Ghana Bar Association omo ayekom record bi anywhere trese omokasa aye e was asem ne so. Also in 2020 in 2020 the Auditor General was forcefully removed from office by the Nanado government. This act, though publicly condemned by many, never got a reaction from the Ghana Bar Association. In 2023, the Supreme Court declared that forceful removal as unconstitutional. Yenim. Daniel Domelevonsem no. Nanko for him say Ghana Bar Association bekasa due to precedents omwankasa. Also in 2023 and 2024, protesters were unlawfully arrested and detained. The Ghana Bar Association never reacted to this, even though the protesters including lawyers who were members of the Ghana Bar Association. Under President Akufo-Addo 2023-2024, Oliver Baka-mo aye kokochi omo aye detaini omo aye young grantee omo bail no. They were members of the Ghana Bar Association. I'm a governor, member of the Ghana Bar Association. That I say Ghana Bar Association for ye come, even though I near omo members, omo anka he. Also yet in 2024, when the Chief Justice illegally proposed the appointment of 5 selected judges to the President for appointment to the Supreme Court, the Ghana Bar Association defended the action of the Chief Justice, although the Chief Justice had no individual role pursuant to Article 144 for the appointment of the judges to the Supreme Court. For the very first time, Chief Justice Wei Ayetu Nesisiye, Waye Adia na etiamra no, na fe Jesha Ghana Bar Association defend the Chief Justice no. You say, hey, Ghana Bar, mo de na ki eni musa nti wo hwe history of Ghana Bar Association na. Hey, e de na ekosui. It is not surprising that The Ghana Bar Association in 2025 now condemns the suspension of the Chief Justice as done in accordance with Article 146. But see, history tells us that Ghana Bar Association speaks on political issues and matters. It only speaks on those matters that interest it or appear to affect a class of political persons. It doesn't have a history of speaking on every national issue that has constitutional implications. It does have a history of speaking on some constitutional issues depending on the political class in government and the perceived political leanings of the leaders of the Ghana Bar Association. It was say, sa history we are one may, ama ya tiase se Ghana Bar Association sebe, se ye Ghana for se, ye hunti no mo ho, se embra hunti, se embra etia obi, ne no hunti no bekasa dia yentu ya adwum. Because clearly no mo hu say, as omo leaders no political party a Ghana Bar Association for leaders e speak omo leaders no e support no. Say bibitia omo leaders no political party that's when Ghana Bar Association for ekasa into wama yen history. Into time a Ghana Bar Association for leaders e support MPP for omo eye nananom no. Na satan Ghana Bar Association bekasa. Into say Ghana Bar Association leader bia or support MPP a ye bibitia MPP that's when they speak. So most support MPP during NDC time or better NDC near be MPP ba no MPP di bonia on kasa. Inti that is the case as our lawyer we draw based on a history of activities at Ghana Bar Association or more carry out. I say the Ghana Bar Association hasn't been the conscience of the nation if you closely assess its advocacy in line with the political class in power. It appears to have a fetish for lawyers who hate the government and isn't too critical when lawyers in government do known wrongs. The end. And so this is what a lawyer has put out. And therefore, it is clear. I like it when lawyers share their thoughts on issues like this. And wamayen historical data on the actions of the Ghana Bar Association. I like it. I'm going to read more because lawyers be akasa. Making kind some more lawyers no akan. Muntre your comment box nimo. Medase.